He is a writer, producer, showrunner, and actor extraordinaire. Mike O'Malley back here on the show. How are you, Michael?
Rich Eisen, great talking to you today, man. So happy to be with you. I'm doing all right. I'm surviving. You know, I'm home with 3 teenagers
Oh, my
in
God.
lockdown mode still. So we got a 17-year-old, we got a 15-year-old, we got a 13-year-old. So it's insane. I miss the youth sports. I'd do anything to sit in the stands next to some dad I wanted to punch in the throat without knowing what I'm talking about. But I never thought I'd miss that either. I never thought I'd miss it. I miss it now.
You never thought you'd miss the parents who make life miserable for youth sports, but that is the way that the world is turning right now, Mike. Well, how did you get in? How did you first get involved? And again, you're big on youth sports here and baseball for sure, about teaching kids the game and the love of the game and all that. How did you get involved in that years ago?
I'm a schmuck, Rich. I'm a schmuck who, believed that dads had to be around their sons to hang out and have a good relationship with them. And I, like any schmuck dad, I got suckered into it by some guy who made it seem like it was a great thing. And then next thing I know, I was doing it. And like I said, anytime you can leave a youth gym or a youth sports field and not have gotten into a fist fight with somebody, I think is a great day. That's the victory for me. It's not about teaching kids the love of the game. It's just realizing how much we're really on. Humanity's on the brink of war at any time because of that rage that's within us to have to sit next to people who don't know what they're talking about.
Well, you know what, Mike? One year I've mentioned it here on the show. I don't know if you were. That was why we had you call in once, but I think it was with it wasn't this particular, but the youth league that that you are associated with here. My son plays in, and. He had a manager who would set the lineup based on when the kid arrived. So if you brought your kid late, he would hit like 10th in the order and then have to wait maybe like 3 innings to hit. So for the final game, I'm like, which by the way wasn't very fair to parents with like 2 other kids and Sunday. Oh, it's just so anyway. My wife and I, we were determined we were going to get our son to the game on time for the last game of the year, and sure enough, we got him in the top of the order, and he gets up there, and another fellow 8-year-old hits him in the chops. And he goes right down, and so I go out on the field to make sure he's okay because he never says a word whenever he gets hurt. And this time he was beginning to cry. And the umpire told him to take his base, Mike. The umpire told him to take his base, and I started telling the umpire, I'm like, no, we've been waiting a week for my son to hit. No, we got my son here on time. You have no idea what the hell was happening in my house today. And I was suddenly, with everybody watching, I was that dad going to an umpire who's giving his time for this event. I was that guy.
Terrible, Rich.
I was that guy for a split moment, Mike.
Yeah, you're allowed to be that guy because you care. This is the thing, Rich. When your kid, here's the thing. The thing about sports that I've figured out is that when your kid strikes out or they make an error or, the opposite, they get a hit, it's all primal. When, you think to yourself, oh, my God, my name is never going to go on. This person's never going to meet a girl, fall in love, have children because he can't succeed. This is primal. It's just, we've taken it to things like sports. But anyways, Rich, I'm sorry that happened to you.
No, it's okay, Mike. We got through it.
As the former president of that league,
yes.
I hope that league mostly brought you joy,
very much so,
instead of pain.
And we miss it right now. We miss it. I mean, so many young men and women in youth sports, and obviously also high school spring sports being canceled right now. It has been very, very difficult. That people waiting for their senior years for their spring sports before they graduate. Terrible. It's been brutal. And we
I think that one of the things that the kids don't realize, you realize it as grown-ups. It's like whenever you're driving your kid to a practice and, they're kind of like, I'm tired. I don't want to go. I got so much homework. And then if you were to cut to the drive home when they're in a great mood, it's because, that energy that they have from, exercising and being with their friends and joking around and laughing. It's just like when you go to do a workout, you never want to go do it. You always feel better after you did it. And I think that they're not able to make that connection necessarily. That's what the difficult thing is. I mean, if all of us come out of this and every single kid isn't depressed just from being locked in inside, not being able to, exercise and be with their friends, I mean, that's a win,
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.